Hey guys, welcome in, welcome in. Um, I kind of wanted to remind everyone here, mostly on me, because I don't know how much you actually know about this, but this is going to be a very spoiler-heavy stream for the Redacted event. Don't know if you wanna get spoiled or anything like that. If you don't care, then feel free to hang out, otherwise I recommend not looking. Otherwise, please let me know if any audio's kind of wrong, because again, I had like trouble with my disk and I had to reinstall everything, and now I kind of switched over to a dual boot system. Oh yeah, thank you for lurking. Okay, should probably switch screen. Hey guys. So basically, I switched over to a dual boot system, basically meaning my main system still runs on Linux, and I have like a streaming setup. And by the way, you're going to hear the fan every once in a while. I'm sorry about that, but I still have to fix that. Basically, I have a setup just for streaming, which runs on Windows for multiple reasons. One of them is that my Stream Deck just kind of works on Linux. There is no proper support for that, which is really annoying. And the only app that kind of works hasn't been, has stopped development like 5 months ago or something like that. So this is again really annoying, and I have like an old capture card that I like to use. I used it like years ago to stream some Switch games, and before then recorded like videos on YouTube. And I can't use that one on Linux because obviously Elgato does not like Linux, so they don't support it. And there's like a fan-made driver basically that works with some of the disks or like the capture cards. Mine is not part of that, and I've heard rumors that there are reasons why they stopped development. I'm not gonna talk about those here. Anyway, so it's not really fun to work with that, so I kind of switched over to a dual boot. So I have like Windows to stream from, I guess, which was kind of annoying to set up, especially because, again, I was like in exam season, just wrote like my second to last exam 2 days ago. So I was not really able to stream for like over a week, which is kind of annoying because I just started. And yeah, so I'm kind of stuck here. I'm gonna wait until the fan stops, because for some reason my GPU fan either goes like 10% or 100%, which is really annoying. I need to fix that. And now it's quiet again. Basically, my GPU, increases in temperature a little bit, and then it goes to 100% until it loses like 5 degrees or something. And yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna switch over to the game. It's probably this button here. First thing, I'm gonna spoil something. Something that, hey Evo, welcome in. I'm gonna spoil something that I built basically before the server started. This is this room. This is what I call the debug room. This is where we have everything set up for all events. It is just a weird cube made out of bedrock. As you can see, and there are like all these, debug, let's go, it's the best room. Like you have all the events and the spawn areas. It's mostly here so we don't have to remember all the teleports. It's a lot easier like this. Also all the event stuff, like if I wanna create a trophy, hey Reps, I can basically just create a book and throw it on there, and it gets converted into everything. So basically all the commands that we need are built up here. And the best thing about it, and this is like the real spoiler, if I go up here, I'm in the build battle arena. Kinda multi-purpose. It's the only event that happened, so, dual use. Very useful. Okay, we wanted to talk about the Redacted event. To do that, I actually prepared another slide. Basically, I mentioned that when I looked at all the stuff that you did. We ourselves had basically like one of those graphs where we connected everything. Favorite rune in the game? Might be my second favorite. It's very great. Also very squishy, sounds-wise. Wait, it's this one. Flashbang warning. The app I'm using only has light mode. So, you have been warned. This is Wired. This is a program that I use to basically, I should switch myself. I can't see that. Basically the program I use when I work on databases and stuff, just to, connect everything. But they have like other graphs that you can build, which is kind of convenient for something like this. This is basically the state of the graph, like shortly before we started the server. So there are like some colors that are wrong. Red basically, for example, means that it's not done yet. Orange means it's mostly done. Yellow just misses some description stuff, you know, you can see it. And green is everything that is done. Basically, we kind of have to start with the story of the whole event. And thank you, fan. Again, we are going to hear that one every like 5 minutes or so. Basically, when we started the server, we were all thinking about what events we want to make, and REDACTED kind of like offered herself to build like a scavenger hunt. And she started, if I recall correctly, it was either the Lost Souls Underwater or the library. You kind of have to not jog my memory here. It's one of those at least. Basically, the whole cave idea came up way later. And we should probably mention we had like 2 weeks to build everything on the server. Because how exam seasons, I think Evo still had exams or something like that. At least was busy. So it kind of took some time until we got onto the server. And then we had like 2 weeks to prepare everything. And okay, it was the library, which is important. By the way, library is also probably the best point to start at. And there are like some changes that happened over the weeks of the server, so, you know. Yeah, I remember. Okay, we should probably start with that. So we had 2 weeks. First week I mostly started like learning how to develop plugins and made the whole chat plugin and stuff. Okay, that's fine. I don't think I'm gonna need much help. I can probably show 90% without help. I'm gonna need some help with like some button presses, I guess. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Basically, we had 2 weeks. First week I developed all the software, and then I got lucky because I had like 1 week where there was a break from uni, so I could really focus on this stuff. And I joined REDACTED in her scavenger hunt idea, and yeah, it's fine. You can be in debug. Basically, we just started building. The idea was basically to put in hints in the whole world, and we started like building and like some challenges. The first thing I built was the broken tower with the cave underneath it. Built that like in single player world and then copied it over. And then like a few days later, I think that was like 4 days before we started the server. Like the original idea was that we could just build stuff over time a little bit, because people would probably not find it directly. And then I had like the stupid idea to have like one area you would have to return to every once in a while. And it was like 4 days before the server started, or maybe 5 days, something like that. And this is where like my 20 hours a day working on this project started. At like 1 week where I was like sleeping 2 hours at most every day. Because I also had like other stuff to do, but I was like on the server for like 16 to 20 hours a day, just working on like a lot of those projects, working out the redstone, the kings and whatnot. But yes, this is kind of the story. Yeah, built most of the cave in 4 days. And also some stuff outside. Basically, how we separated the work was basically I did most of the cave stuff. I helped out with some redstone outside of it. Like we're going to talk about what exactly who did. And then REDACTED did like all the lore, or like 90% of the lore, and all the smaller locations that we have. Like when you find like a tent somewhere and there's like a book in there, it's probably built by REDACTED. And by probably I say like actually always, except for one. The one above the cave itself, that's the one I built myself, but there isn't really lore in there, so, you know. Basically, this is what happened. Yeah, and exactly, you built the library. So REDACTED built the library, the underwater stuff mostly. I just did the redstone in there, as well as the maze. And this is what REDACTED did. And then the graves. That was basically the idea that we kind of wanted to check if you actually finished everything, if you managed to do all the challenges. And so we thought, okay, why not put a grave for every single mod? Which is like, oh yeah, you did the floating islands as well. By the way, I hope you can read everything. I don't know how great it is, like pixel-wise. I can always zoom in. Basically, this is just a few short description, what we can find here and what we find on the arrows. Basically, and the arrows give a hint in which direction you are going to find stuff. But yeah, This is all the stuff inside the cave, and everything else is outside. I probably forgot some. Oh yeah, we were talking about the graves. Basically, the idea was that every mod would get their own chance to build their grave. And I know you had some questions about that because all the emeralds had lore on them. Or the souls, actually. Let's call them souls. The idea was like to put just lore on that. And the reason why there were like 4 lines or 5 lines, basically the name and then the 4 lines and then the add mod, was because I named my soul like that, because it's like a reference to the last server where I had like this long title that I just put above my chair at the Nitten office. And it's basically the same title, yeah. So this is why I kind of decided to put that much lore on every single soul. And I remember you asked why there were some question marks on it. I can probably talk about like the lore in a second. Probably easiest to just switch back to Minecraft now. This one. Okay. Back in the debug room. Basically, we have like all the souls. You can just create them here. Gonna just use some emeralds just to compare them. The numbers on the graves, they don't really matter. They're just, you know, so have like a number there. Basically, the whole idea was, if you get them, like for example, this is the lore of my own soul shard, obviously. Soul of the CEO of Hell, Rigger of Cards, former King of Turds. Even though technically I still was King of Turds, I checked that. End mod. Yeah, basically this was just a reference to last year's server. This was basically, except the end mod part, what was written above my chair in my office. And so we kind of went with that. And obviously most of these are kind of small references. Yeah, for example, I made that one up mostly, like the whole thinker of Hans. REDACTED obviously came up with the idea originally. Writer of books and letters, all the lore, again. Build of mazes, both the underwater maze and the regular maze were built by REDACTED, so obviously. So I think those two are self-explanatory, probably. Evos, for example, on the other hand, isn't something related to Minecraft. This is just Evo's, well, I guess, what do you call it, like your status on Discord? Basically put in there, and you're going to see like, I'm not personally acquainted with like half the mods, or at least in the beginning I surely wasn't, and some I still don't really know. So there were like some gaps that had to be filled with like some other ideas. Yep, it's your about section, exactly, the status. And then, like for example, Void. Void basically is just a mod in the sense that we could have contacted Void if there had been a problem with the server, and they would have like fixed it, I guess. Just to have like some access if Evo wasn't available. And also the name It's Void, very fittingly for such a character who doesn't really do anything in the background. Like, that sounds wrong, but you know what I mean, like not really working on all the mod stuff. So I just left it as the question marks. Again, because it also kind of fits with the whole Void theme. And this would have been perfect if that had been the only question marks in here. Sadly, that wasn't the case in the beginning. But we can just continue. Like, the other mods were obviously also asked what they wanted on their soul shard. Just like why we have some references here. Warden of Cards I thought was fitting, because obviously Luke made all the indigestion cards, which is, again, very fitting. Drinker of Coffee, obviously. I think it's even part of his description on his Twitch page, I think. Build of Peaks has built this year's platforming challenge, and I think last year's as well. So, again, very fitting. Follow Tactics, again a mod who doesn't really do too much mod work on the server. We just asked him, and this is kind of what he came up with. The whole Lover of Man, Keeper of Beasts, Builder of Huts. Builder of Huts was actually in reference because they built the hut in the beginning. Oh yeah, thank you for confirming. Yeah, basically Keeper of, what do I want to say? Builder of Huts, basically the original hut that we have at the spawn. It's the spawn hut, it's a reference to that. Then we had Sir Deku. Obviously he had been on the server last year as well, and you know, we've known each other for some time now. So we had the wrangler of mobs, because last year he basically had a shop where he wrangled all the mobs. Like if you needed a mob, he could procure it for you and bring it to your base. Capital G Gamer, hater of forms. I think those references are self-explanatory as well. Yeah, it was a pet shop basically. And it was really annoying for me because he left most of the mobs on the ice tracks all the time. And it's not really fun to have like skeletons everywhere that shoot you while you're on a boat. But yeah. Galgo Zeppeli, another mod, hasn't done too much this year. Last year they did a bit more, but they once mentioned that they were getting addicted to Minecraft again, so they just stopped. Which is, I mean, it's fair, I get it. Like, when I get into my Minecraft phases, like, I don't really stop for, like, a few weeks. And I would have probably continued playing, like, hours and hours a day if it hadn't been for the fact that, again, I'm in exam season, so I kind of have to focus on that a little bit. But yeah. This one, Soul of the Honor of Dirt Huts. Again, part of what they wanted to have. The huh is part of their description, and so I thought the 3 question marks above that would also make kind of sense. You know, again, it's the Discord reference. And the last one, Infamous Jeff. I think that one was also a filled one. It's been too long, and I feel like the music is a tad too loud. I don't know if it's too loud on your end, but as always, Minecraft music in the back. Okay, Soul of the Summoner of Mobs. Reference to the PvP arena, or the PvE arena, more say it like this, okay. Build of challenges, again, has built some challenges. Also, we are going to talk about Jeff's grave. Owner of Tarps is a reference to his stream, actually, because he's been playing, what's it called, The Forest, Sons of Forest, or something like that. It's like a really fun stream, and we have like kind of this meme in chat that he really likes his stick bed, like basically built like a bed of sticks to sleep in, and everyone else is just, you know, tarps are just the best way to sleep. Let's be honest. I recommend checking him out, by the way. It's very fun, and he actually wanted to stream again. Yeah, it was the only challenging grave, and we're going to talk about why. I mean, tarps are absolutely on top, I completely agree. And we're going to talk about why that was a bit later. And I kind of forgot where I was going with that. Anyway, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, I think. Or can we talk about this now? Yeah, we can talk about this now. So basically, the idea was just to have like graves that were like references to you, or you could just have like a fun little build there. Like, for example, I really liked Luke's build because it's the wrong direction. It's just his emote from his from his Twitch. So very fitting, I thought. And everyone kind of built that, except for 2 people who did not build their own graves. Those being Void again. Again, Void hasn't really done much mod stuff in that sense. So we kind of had like this empty Void, which was, yeah, this is the emote in chat. Thank you, Evo. Where was I? So basically the idea for Void was to leave it a Void, which would have been perfect if it had been the only one that had been a Void. Which again is like one of those things which would have just really fit to their name. But again, sometimes things don't perfectly work out. Again, yeah, this one again I thought was kind of fun. Really fitting. And then we had Fallout Tactics, who also again hasn't really been doing much on the server, which is again fine. Life kind of gets in the way sometimes, so I can't force them to build anything. And we didn't really have grandiose idea to change his grave, I guess. So we just kind of made it similar to this one, but a little bit less purple, I guess. Yeah, those were the Void placeholders basically. Okay, and now talking about Jeff's build. The reason why Jeff's build ended up like this was basically that he built his grave like basically the day the server, was it the day the server opened? Basically like really late. He built it really late. It might have actually been after the server start. And he basically finished it like Wait, was it the server side? Like, I'm kind of mixing up events right now. Might have also been while you were also already looking for graves, so we really had to hurry up. And nobody could check his work before he was done. So yeah, so now we had this challenge room. And like I get the idea. It's fun to have like a last little challenge in here. It was just kind of bad that it was the first one you found, so now you expected the challenge every time. Yeah, he built that one the day they checked the cave, exactly, and they also found the coordinates because they obviously were like in the what I call the bone zone. So yeah, nobody could check that, and that also led to a big like mod discussion because basically I was watching. Obviously, like I don't know if you've realized that, but either Reps or I was always watching when something really cave related or like redacted related happened. So I was like basically in the middle of trying to fix stuff when Luke jumped in and tried to fix it himself and kind of also ruined stuff, and you know, it wasn't really that fun. Let's be honest. I actually added a sign now for like the next group that tries to fix it. Or like tries to manage to go through this, I guess. Anyway, this is the reason why this is the only challenge. I didn't intend for any of those rooms to be challenges, but you know, happens. Yeah, it was littered with gravestones. I think I removed all of them though. Yeah, this is basically all the gravestones. I don't know what we wanna look at next. I don't actually remember which questions you had left, so... Yeah, it was a cool room. I think it's okay if you actually kind of warn people before they get into that. And again, I really hate like the gravestone mod, and like I get it, it's kind of convenient to have to like not lose your inventory, but in so many cases it was just so annoying. Everything that was related to the event, I had to make sure that all those graves disappeared all the time, which also meant that you can't actually use proper armor stands because those graves are just armor stands. Which means if I'm deleting the graves, you're also deleting regular armor stands, which is, again, really annoying. Wait, I can check the mushroom house. I don't think I cleared anything here. I might have seen it though. Is it upstairs somewhere? Well, I'm not seeing anything right now, so... I might just be blind. Well, anyway. Yeah. So this is the whole story behind the graves. What related? Mushroom house. Oh, yeah. Okay, I get now what you're talking about. Your grave here, like not the gravestone inside here. The actual mushroom house, yeah, they were kind of created independently of each other. By the way, most of the mods didn't really know what was going on. We should probably mention that as well. So it was basically just Rebz and I who really knew what was going on, and the rest just kind of heard about it, like from the side, and built the graves. Which is also, again, why mods mostly couldn't really help out. Okay, otherwise, like I would just say, like, if you have any questions, I know we had some in Discord, but I don't really want to pull that one up right now. If you have questions, just ask them whenever. I'm gonna try to answer them. Otherwise, I would just probably talk about Fallout Soul Room. I can check that. Fallout Tactics. Yeah, this one is basically just the same as Voids, but you know, a little bluish. It's probably blue-greenish, I guess. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I remember actually this was... I forgot who it was, but somebody found a cave, and I had set it up incorrectly in a way that you couldn't interact with the trapdoor once you were inside, so you couldn't actually leave. I remember that, which was like... oh yeah, it was Cardi. Really annoying because, again, we basically did last minute things like literally 30 minutes before the server was opened. So yeah, that wasn't, you know, was kind of hard to do. Very exhausting, by the way. I remember I wanted to play like the whole day once the server opened, but I was so darn tired. Like I jumped into the voice chat, I remember, like for the first mining and whatnot, but I was just basically not there anymore. But yeah, this is basically the grave. Again, nothing special. It's one of the placeholder ones, so yeah. Also, why am I... Oh yeah, I just remembered. Fact clear myself. I had night vision all the time because I obviously went to the build-up arena and there you're getting night vision. Okay, we can actually talk about the broken tower next. Because it's actually one of the first areas you were actually supposed to find, because again, it's like above everything. There's actually not just human error in that. This is actually very important. Talking about the broken tower. So this is the broken tower. Basically just a platforming challenge. You, by the way, don't even need to be able to like flip the trapdoors to finish it, because there are actually ways outside. Like, for example, here's the ladder, and then you can jump over and whatnot. So yeah, partial human error, that probably fits. So basically, you have to climb outside and kind of realize that it's kind of weird that there's a parkour, I guess, without a reward. So you were supposed to climb up and go down here. I should have probably kept night vision. Okay, thanks. Yeah, useful. Again, I think you have seen it, where you have to climb up. Basically, I placed a lot of signs in the beginning, and I knew that some of them would stay empty. That was part of the plan, kind of just to confuse people. This wasn't actually the problem here. I placed them like in good spots, and then I started the math puzzle, I'm gonna call it, like basically the linear algebra, basically just solving one of those systems. Very simple. The problem, and this is actually the real problem here. Originally, I had 2 locations I wanted to put in here. I remember that I wanted to put in 2 locations. I sadly don't remember what the second one was. And at some point, I removed one of them. But one of the signs still was left in there. And basically, like, the idea was that there are 2 different systems, and you were supposed to find out which one is the real one, or like the real ones, I guess. Just because the Y value doesn't make any sense otherwise. I mean, you've realized yourself. And you asked me, like, what is the solution if you don't know math? Well, first of all, math is really simple. You can actually just Google it. Second of all, and I think you found that one later, but there's actually, yeah, the solution. Basically, both areas had a solution that you can just check out. Like, everything else would have been confusing, but you can just, you know, check it here, for example. Actually, like this place here, especially because you could figure out, I think it was the location of the cave. I mean, yeah, it was very simple. The cave location, you have like the compass to find that one, and I forgot the other one was a grave, right? I can just check it myself. It's been so long. Yeah, it was Luke's grave that you could find here. Wait. I mean, you can be salty, I guess. But yeah, the whole idea was there was some fake out signs that I filled because, again, there was a second location I originally hinted at, and then I just filled those signs with something else. Just missed one sign, which kind of happens if you are like working on like 2 hours of sleep. And again, we finished it just barely in time. And originally, again, both areas would have had a like final sign if you manage to beat like the whole challenge. Which again, like if you do all the jumping and all the puzzling, you can just barely make this jump. I didn't even make it this time. I think you have to do it from here. Like kind of as a reward for doing like harder platforming. That was kind of the idea, so either it's math or it's platforming. Whatever is easier for you. But yeah, this is the tower. it led to the cave, and you could find hints about the tower at the library. So I think we can just jump over to the library next. And I would say Rebz probably has some more to talk about it than I do. Where's the library? There's the library. But yeah, library, a very fun project I've heard. Filled with all the quotes up to like, I don't know, 1000 something. Yeah, the library, I might have misspoken, but yeah, the library went or led to the Broken Tower. And the Broken Tower then led to the cave. And we actually recently added another hint in here to the eye, which you've struggled with for the longest time. Which, okay, kind of makes sense. It's, you know, kind of annoying. The more annoying thing is actually, and you can't see it because obviously I had to reinstall everything, so I don't have my old journey map. But like my base is around here somewhere. But there's no one living between me and basically here. So nobody ever found the library or the mushroom hut for so long. And same for the eye. Nobody lives there. It's just random, basically. Like, random chance that nobody found it because nobody lives in that area. But if you're looking like at the south direction, for example, there were a lot of people just living in the area. So, I don't know. I think it's fine. You also ask why we helped you out. Mostly because we knew that Lily was going away for quite some time, and we didn't actually know for how long, so wasn't sure how much time would have been left at the end of the whole challenge and the whole server. So, gosh darn spiders. So we just kind of expedited this whole process. Because again, like the idea was it's supposed to be a scavenger hunt, and you were supposed to group up, again, kind of with hints mostly. Wait, did I miss something? Yeah. By the way, I sent some screenshots in the redacted thread at some point about how close you like Lily and Pixels came while exploring, like multiple times, like literally just over a hill or something like that. And always like, oh yeah, like, oh, this is too far away. 10 more blocks, you know, 10 blocks away from seeing the eye. You just decided to turn around or like take another route. I remember later on, Lily basically skipped 50 blocks where the eye was and then started exploring thoroughly again. It was like really annoying. But yeah, the idea was originally that you would just organically find stuff over time. And yeah. Talking about organically finding stuff. Yeah, seems to be the theme. Yeah, the flying and on foot. I mean, seriously, you've seen the screenshot, how you literally, yeah, basically took a circle around the eye and missed it. And I had to stop you, scream at you, so you could actually see it. So, yeah. I mean, it was taller than the whole trees around it, so. But talking about that, this is like actually really important. Like you kind of noticed it at some point. Rebz built a campsite near Pixel's base at some point. The campsite led to the old garden. The old garden is like really important, I think, in the whole system. Like how we wanted to approach the whole system. Basically, you were sent here. So basically, and you figured it out very late. This is the solution to one of the puzzles. The reason why we gave you this, this place explicitly was because you already had the solution. You were supposed to figure out that there are solutions to puzzles inside the cave, outside the cave, but you never did, and it took you to the till the very last day to figure out what this puzzle meant. And this is kind of why I talked about absorbing skills and whatnot. There were a lot of things kind of hidden around that would have helped. But yeah, obviously, if you think that the cave is supposed to be brute forced, then it's going to be kind of annoying. I remember like waking up to all the messages about how you, and like by you it was, I think it was Butters and someone else, figured out how to get to the first button. And I was like, okay, I'm very happy that I basically made the second button a lot harder, because had you brute forced that one, I would have banned you. Because the chance to brute force it is like 10 factorial or something like that. Just if you know that the buttons, or like what the buttons actually do. Which is like not doable actually. Gonna be completely honest here. Also, this is kind of annoying, wait. Effect, clear, give. I'm still giving myself night vision, but I'm gonna do it in like invisible, because I really hate the particles. But yeah. I mean, I did ban you from the cave, but I would have banned you from the server. Because you can actually figure that one out really easy, or like rather easily, if you have a minimap installed. It's like one of the reasons why we don't like minimaps. They kind of break a lot of puzzles. I could have probably fixed it in a way that that the solution isn't obvious if you have a minimap. Didn't want to do that though, because sometimes, yeah. I can show you in a minute. But yeah, basically this one would have given you the hint about how to solve the first button room. The one to the left, obviously. And what else? I think that's everything you got here. Ah, yes, bright light. The garden was somewhere here. Broken tower. Yeah, it's just a small jumping puzzle that you have to do. And now, obviously, it's going to be a lot easier, since everyone has elytras by this point. But yeah, this is the solution for button 1. I think this is everything we had here. Is there anything else that is important? We had the floating islands. These ones, by the way, very funny, in my opinion. A few mods tried the jumping puzzle, or like the parkour. Sorry, this is the German in me calling it the jumping puzzle again. No, wait, jumping puzzle is the real term. It's jump and run, what the term that Deco always uses, because it's the term we use in Germany for some reason. Anyway, where was I? Waterfall parkour. The funny thing was, everyone kind of struggled here, and I just jumped through it like first try. But yeah, we originally put up like a book up there, and we removed that later on because you can't interact with it in, just because of how the settings work, which is kind of really annoying. We kind of just figured out how World Guard worked with the server, so we kind of struggled at some points. And I think you remember some points where that probably affected you guys. Like the anvil in the cave in the beginning, which was actually a lucky coincidence, because obviously you weren't supposed to find that. Yeah, this is the rambling of mad people. This is basically the hint that you had to throw, yeah, mad people rambling into the water. Oh yeah, I can show you how. I think it's this direction, right? Which one are you talking about? It's the one over here, right? Wasn't there one? I just remember that there's a tent really close nearby. Oh, here, over there. You can almost see it, like, yeah. Yeah, I know that you brute forced that one. I also remember reading in chat that somebody figured out that there are hoppers below that, and they threw another item in that shouldn't have triggered it originally, which was why I was really confused, because there was no way that would have activated it. Had to double check the redstone, but apparently not. Yeah, you threw a bow in, but that shouldn't have triggered it, because it's literally just an item filter. So it couldn't go in, actually. Which is why I was so confused. But we can talk about redstone later on. Well, it did, but it never did again, so I don't know. Kind of confusing. Maybe there was a bad spawning or something in the exact moment, or something crazy like that. We changed like some of the spawn settings later on. But yeah, this is like a very close... yeah, hello in chat again. Very close area to... There we are. Anyway, I think we can go to the next location. Those are all the outside locations that you can just find on their own, except for the eye. And we could technically check that one out, but I don't think there's... Yeah, you were in the tent, I remember. But like, teleporting over here. We can just look at the eye for a second. Again, we added like a hint now that kind of leads you over there. By the way, Shulker box. I don't know whose it is, but hey, it sure is here. This one, a very simple system actually. It's quite literally just some pressure plates over here. And I just checked that if you stand here, you are going to hit one of those pressure plates. And this is literally all the redstone here. And then you had all the endermites. And storytelling that you missed. I mean, skeleton, purple, mites. I don't know. Lore. With all the arrows, which obviously, if you find this one rather early, you actually have a way easier time in the cave. As you have figured out, probably. Yeah, I can imagine. But technically you can use an Eye of Ender. I mean, that wasn't like a problem. I mean, you need Eye of Enders for some things. And using it for redstone is kind of funny. But yeah, you could have also waited until after the dragon fight if you were really worried. But then again, you probably wouldn't have been able to finish the cave. At least until, you know, now probably. So yeah, this is the eye. Again, just some hints. You know, all the clearing we have here probably wasn't big enough hint. So yeah, I would say this is everything outside the cave you would have been able to find without help. Or like, just with the hints you would have found around spawn and the whole living area. There are also like a lot of smaller locations, as you can see. I didn't actually check all of those. Those are all like Rebz design. For the most part. Did I actually build one of those? I don't think so. So yeah, I think it's time to check out the cave. The cave, trademark. That's actually what it's called. Has always been called. And yeah, I think I added the rock here, which is why the teleport is kind of awkward. Somebody left a chest here. Okay. So yeah. We added the pressure plate later on to actually turn you back into survival mode, because I obviously forgot that you could just die and stop interacting with the cave for some time. Hello. So yeah, I actually really like the climb down effect and the rope. If you look down there, it just looks like it's just disappearing into the shadows, which was like one of the main reasons why I actually had the idea for the cave, but you know. Yeah. Oh yeah, you remember the one with the... Wait, don't show caves. Obviously, I don't see anything on my map right now. But basically, it was northwest of the campsite. It wasn't northwest of spawn, but it never said anything about spawn, so, you know. It definitely was like west-northwest or whatever they explicitly said, so I don't know. Anyway, checking out the cave. Cave, obviously. Teleport here, and you get turned into adventure mode, obviously, so I'm gonna have to switch that. By the way, I actually finally fixed the pit of death. You can now not die if you are in creative mode. You only get killed in survival, or like, you're not getting killed as long as you are in either creative or spectator mode. Finally fixed that one. But yeah, happens the stealing. But yeah, this one... So, okay, let's talk about the anvil first. Hey, Carly. Yeah, we're dying a lot. I mean, I have like a spoiler up there. I hope you're not worried about getting spoilers for the whole event, because there are technically still some days left to try it yourself, if you are interested. Anyway, obviously I removed the anvil here. Originally there was like a pressure plate and an anvil that was just there to suspend the anvil, because I thought it looked a lot cooler than this block of basalt. Also made this jump here slightly easier to get up. But other than that, yeah, it was basically just for this little bit of parkour and because of the theme. So it really looked like a rope that was hanging down, like some weight. I don't actually know where we want to start now. Like, we have the pit of death. Okay, it's very simple. If you jump down, there's just death. And you figured that one out quite quickly, that you needed like a bow to shoot that thing, to activate the whole thing, to get into here, just to get like the whole hint about, first of all, that you need gems, or like, I call them green gems. So you needed emeralds, and the coordinates where the grave is. This, by the way, again, relatively simple to do if you have a minimap, because you can just set a point at spawn. This is like the steps. Point at spawn, and then basically go in a straight line and just check whenever you are like around that far away from spawn. And there are just 2 locations where that would happen. So you would only have to check 2 places. But again, this is like a thing where people who use maps kind of are at an advantage. But yes. Oh yeah, originally I had planned that if you do something here that there would something would open in this direction, never panned out. So instead I just left it there to kind of confuse people. You had to check 9 different locations first? Wait. Why did you have to check 9 different locations? Yeah, the little cave at the end of the pit again, like, didn't really matter. I mean, first of all, I'm listening. Well, while I'm listening, I can also talk about the next thing. I mean, kind of tile-based, I guess. I mean, it's block-based, so it's basically tiles. Yeah, I mean, fair enough, but I don't really see why we would use Manhattan distances. So, yeah. I mean, this is kind of part of the puzzle to figure out where you first came from kind of means. It could have also meant like the cave, maybe. Would have been kind of weird. But it explicitly said where you first came, so. Yeah, it's kind of tile-based, but even in tile-based games, you often have Euclid distances, so. Anyway, as you can see, every time somebody joins the cave, obviously all mobs get killed, all the graves get removed, and all that jazz. Just so you can't actually store items. Then we have this place, very important, the bone zone, I called it in the notes, where you got, what was it? It was Jeff's, right? Yeah, that was Jeff's soul information. And I added that one because obviously it would be really annoying if you had to farm for skeletons here. This is the main reason why I did that. So there was an area where you're guaranteed to find some skeletons. You could kill them. Obviously I added some without skeletons as well. They have like a rare chance of spawning because they are built into the wall, or like they're deeper in the wall. So they only have like 3 or 4 spaces where they could spawn, just to add some challenge. This obviously was made with like the fact in mind that the server would be on easy mode most of the time, where it wouldn't be too challenging. But then again, if you figured out the whole eye situation, you also got, you know, shield and sword, so then this should actually be quite easy. So yeah, you did figure that out. That is true. But yeah, there aren't too many places you would have had to check. But it's like the most math you actually have to do in the whole event, I guess. So yeah, this is the Trial of Twins. Obviously, because twin endermen. Which is also why you have the whole information about the floor that you can't touch. I forgot how exactly I worded it. But yeah, this is literally... I made a copy with Schematica of the floor of the old garden, and then just removed all the command blocks where the water was flowing. This is basically what I did. This is all that happened. So as you can see, some jank redstone that just goes through the cave, because again, we were kind of limited on time. Use like a lot of pulse extenders here to just give you the time that if you press the button that you can actually kind of return with an asterisk, obviously. The whole idea was that you were actually, yeah, or like once you reach this point, you actually had to figure out that you need 3 people. That's probably the idea. I mean, I can imagine that that took like 2 hours to find out. But again, there was like an actual solution to that made it a lot easier. So I don't know. But again, brute forcing technically possible, but wasn't like the wisest choice. And then I wanted to show you why the other room is so easy. It has to do with how I set up all the redstone. Basically, that's the birch room, as you called it. This is just the second button room, actually, in my notes. But this is the redstone over here. And it shows you the order that you need to press the buttons. First diamond, then emerald, then calcite, birch, oak, and so on. And if you have a minimap installed, like, follow, you can actually, here, figure it out. Oakwood, like if I hover here, it says Oakwood, this one says Netherite, Obsidian. If you have this map open, you can technically see where the redstone blocks appear. By the way, is somebody in the cave currently? Because I could actually use some... I can probably just do it myself. If you press the diamond block, for example, what actually happens is there's a command block that just fills a redstone block over here. And it locks the next one. This is the whole redstone. I really love how simple it actually is. Basically, it locks, and as long... this is the reset line. If this ever gets triggered, everything resets. Yeah, minimaps are not allowed. This is one of the reasons why we disallowed them. And we had like a massive discussion in the beginning of the server where we like chose mods that were okay and which were not. And I am still of the opinion that minimaps are more like... or like more cheaty, I guess, whatever you want to call it, than the FreeCam mod, which I use sometimes for mod stuff, where you are allowed to go into spectator mode, basically, while you're standing around. Because this is an active choice, having the minimap open and seeing that there's, like, redstone, especially if you're, like, zoomed in. I don't have the keybinds, so zoom in. Where you can just accidentally see a solution to something, or, like, to a maze or something, even if you didn't intend to, is, like, kind of more annoying, in my opinion. This one is like literally somebody goes out of their way to cheat. And like, we can't check this anyway. So if you forbid it, it doesn't actually make a difference. Also, like most of the things that you learn about like with this mod, because you're quite limited by how far you can actually go. Like you can only see things that your body would actually see, because the server obviously thinks that you are still standing here in place. Which means you only have like the 10 block render distance, not 10 block, 10 chunk render distance, and you can only see mobs that are like 40 blocks away or something like that. So technically, the minimap actually gives you more information. But this is my thought on it. Again, it's like not that important to use it, because I'm only using it for mod events anyway, like taking screenshot or something. But yeah. Where was I? Now that the GPU finally is quiet again. So yeah, this is the whole room. Basically, if you press the buttons in order, this happens. And over here, this is just a reset timer. And part of the reset timer is also the lamps. And the interesting part is just, even if you reset this side, the lamps still stay on, which was really important to me. So you couldn't brute force it. At least not conveniently. And again, it's like 10 factorial solutions that are possible, and it's just way too much. Like, if you had guessed it, I would have banned you. It's way too unlikely to brute force this puzzle. The other one is fine, like, since you can just check every single block once, and, you know, there's like a finite amount of blocks you actually have to check. But yeah. Another question. Yeah, like the warden maze was actually really great. I originally didn't know how to fit like the solution. This was literally like something we did on the last day or something, where I finally figured out where I wanted to put the solution to this. And then I just had the idea, okay, why not put it in the warden maze? Because the warden maze in itself is like something you only reach very late already. And if you've already realized the combination, it also made the warden maze easier, because you don't... like, you only have to check the areas where those blocks are, which was kind of nice, in my opinion. Definitely worked out quite great. And I also have to admit, it's like one of the better puzzles, in my opinion. There are like some fun things you can do, like most of them is just challenging, and a lot of it's also challenging because it's supposed to be challenging, less than it really needed to be. Like, okay, this one actually I don't think is too challenging, the whole skeleton. I just found it was funny to use the stair emote to kill people. Also, if you get like the shield, again, you only have to run through here once, and then technically you can just kill the skeleton. Very funny. Yeah. Obviously the Guardian room, you had that one. This one was supposed to be kind of hard to leave, but you got regen once you entered here. So like the whole idea was you were supposed to get the whole poison room area, which obviously, like I like the interconnectivity from all of this. So where you had to go over here and then go through the water and through the poison cave. And I slightly changed that one actually recently, just to make it so the creeper actually sees you. You did get regen though. Like, I mean, I could just prove that it happens, but basically, if you use the knowledge one, only if you use power. If you use power, you get regen for a few seconds. And obviously death. I really like death. I had to put it in. If you press, like, if you have already, like, I hope you realize this is just a sorting system. Basically, if you throw in, like, a death gold nugget, it just triggers the death line, and it just plays some music and kills you after a few seconds. I mean, you know, you had to figure it out, but I like that troll. It's, you know, you kind of have to put it in there. But yes. This room, obviously, I had to make slightly harder because you could kind of skip it. There was like a ledge here originally that I had to remove. And then I remember when I put in this button, because obviously... Wait, you said something. Oh, no, like, it healed you when you solved the puzzle, obviously. Yeah, I remember when you were basically jumping and like, I removed it. I mean, to be fair, you were dead at that moment. But I removed it like between attempts, so yeah. Then we had the whole fiasco where I put a button here and you try to shoot it with a bow and arrow and had to remove it because I almost forgot that this is actually a mechanic. And I just moved it over there because obviously there's a solution to the whole puzzle with the arrows that you had to do. The reason why I did that is because obviously whenever somebody enters the cave, the door closes again. So you need like kind of a button to leave it. Here's also the sign, Soul of Tactics. But yes. Then the whole iron sword thing, I didn't want you to spam this button. I just, you know, you were supposed to think that you can only get like one per attempt or something, just because it would get annoying to just spam here and then, you know. The thing you actually did, technically, by the way, I should mention this, technically you don't need any help with the whole cave, except for the last room, basically. Which was like the whole void puzzle, I'm gonna call it. Everything else could be done by yourself, so it kind of made sense to just put a timer under here. And that's like everything that happens. So yeah, this is the side of the whole cave. It's actually not that large if you can actually just float through here. No, the Latin is not meaningful at all. It's, what do you call it? It's the, hello zombie. It's the fake Latin that you use to test fonts and stuff. There's like just a, look, death. There's like a generator I just used, and I checked whichever sentences were short enough to actually put in there. It was supposed to not make sense. I mean, exactly, lorem ipsum. I forgot that name right now. Because there's literally like, you know, the dead body of a guy who exploded from purple stuff. I mean... I mean, he was right, I guess. Soft salad. I mean, very soft salad. But yes, this is this side. Then we had the whole ice puzzle. I quite enjoyed the ice puzzle, making it. This is also where I figured out that Rebz never played a Pokemon game. Which was very, very important, okay? Basically, I tried to describe the puzzle to her, and she was just like, okay, never played Pokemon. Very sad. True story, I quite enjoyed that puzzle. It's definitely one of those where if you just move it around a little bit, it kind of works. I should have probably measured it out a little bit better. Like, technically, you only need one fishing rod to solve it, but if you're like trying around a little bit, then you might need a little bit more. So I should probably put like unbreaking 1 on there. But yeah. But otherwise relatively easy to solve, since like the armor stand obviously coming down here, landing on here, then you basically just have 2 direction all the time. If you're just moving along the tiles, basically. You might have, like, I have tried it myself in survival and I managed to do it, so I don't know. I don't know what I did differently than you did. Maybe you just missed some things at some point. Either way, I'm gonna put like unbreaking on there at some point. Like, it's close. It's very close, and I think I'm just gonna make it... I don't know if I wanna make it unbreakable, because, again, like, you could probably cheese some areas if you had a fishing rod, and I always have to make sure that you can't cheese, because you're going to try to cheese it. This is something I definitely learned. Yeah, like a few mistakes and that's enough. Like, it's... I think a fishing rod has like 64 uses or something like that. It's just barely enough to reach all the areas. But yes. I also like that you had to figure out that fishing rods, you can't throw them as far, and you actually have to just start like closer and then move into the right spot where you want to do this. By the way, while you are working on this puzzle, I actually built this wall, because if you get too close to the wall, you're actually getting poisoned. Like, I think if it's... Here you're getting poisoned. So actually I have to fix that. There's still like a few spots I should probably figure out which exact spots those are. But yeah, I had to kind of fill in the wall so you don't get poisoned accidentally. But yes, this one was... which one? Ancient. Oh yeah, this is the one about the dingens, the what do you call it? The ancient city. The Purple Plague, yeah, called the Purple Plague. This was a reference to the Enderman, or like the cave with the mites in there. This was the Purple Plague. But also, for some reason, I saw the cyan more as purple, so it would fit as well. But again, kind of the problem that I was... This is one of the last hints I wrote, and I had like 8 hours of sleep over the entire week. So, yeah. This is the Purple Plague, the stuff that killed the guy in the mite cave, I guess. It's the, yeah. Very fun though. At least you kind of figured it out. But yes, this is the whole area over here. Over here is only the button to get the armor stand. Am I forgetting anything inside the cave? I think it's basically everything. We only have like the last room, and we can talk about that one last, I think. Yeah, we had the button rooms, we were in the smithy. Hell Parkour, yeah, I looked into that one just briefly. Very simple. I kind of changed this one. Originally, the idea was that there was no fire here. And if you press the button, then the fire would spawn. And then we figured out that you can't punch out fire when you are in this area. And we couldn't actually do it. Like, we could probably change it that you could, but I just changed it, so yeah. I mean, you actually played the first version where I didn't open the wall yet, so now the fire resistance creeper actually sees you. And I obviously, like, I knew that creeper, or like charge creepers, when they explode, they give you potion effects. I did not know that you get the infinity effect version of it. So I kind of had to change that. Yeah, we can talk about the next clue. I think, is it here? Which clue was this one? Creative mode. Yeah, get to the rock travel east far, for it will take 12,000 blocks. 12,000 stacks before you all shift nay oxidize, just a few hundred blocks away. It drifted to the south. I would actually like to prove that we are correct here, but I cannot because obviously my minimap doesn't work. Like, I don't have the areas currently. Yeah, give me a second. I'm gonna check the text again because I'm talking, so I can't remember stuff. So it said it drifted to the south. Okay. We can actually go to the debug room. And I'm going to rip the pixels. I'm going to the... Am I stupid? Underwater challenge. Does it bring me to the boat? Yeah. This is the boat. Don't show caves. If I go straight line over here. I think I was at spawn at some point, right? Am I actually? Where's spawn? Spawn should be... You know what? I'm just gonna teleport to spawn. How about that? It's probably easier to find. It's kind of annoying to work with that map because you can't zoom out properly. So this is spawn. Like if we go... No, wait. I'm confused right now. It's from the broken tower. Thanks. Broken tower. No, it's not so small. It's right. It's from the tower. Again, I have not interacted with the cave in like ever since you finish it, basically, outside of fixing like some minor things. Broken tower. Okay. Follow. Don't show caves. Going right. Oh, I do love minimaps. Fair enough. It's north. Again, one of the last sins. I had no sleep. Fair enough. Anyway, it's still just like 100 blocks away, so it's actually visible if you're like exactly here, I think. So let's go back here. You built your portal. Fair enough. And then obviously we kind of had to... You kind of project. You know what? Next year, you are not allowed to work on whatever we are building. I think that's fair, right? I feel like I've worked more than 4 hours on this. I think this is... Wait, we can actually check it correctly, right? I'm like... The boat is at... Which coordinate changes? It's the Z. 4850. Okay. 4850. Checking the tower. Just to confirm it. 5125. Yeah, it's 4850 would be here. So it's like slightly north. I mean, fair enough that I watched the whole stream. You know, that kind of happens when you're doing like all the math and then you're thinking, oh yeah, the tower is south. I should probably write that down somewhere. I think that was my thought process there. Which again, 2 hours of sleep a day, probably, maybe. Especially after all this time. Yeah, kind of happened. Okay, what can we check out next? What was the clue specifically? It was you have to travel 12,000 blocks to the east, and then the boat drifted a bit to the south, I think. It's at the north. It said the opposite thing where it actually went, I guess. Yeah, it's the one in the hell parkour. Or it drifted a few hundred south, something like that. And I'm quite sure that, yeah, negative Z is north. So, yeah. Anyway, this is kind of what we had in the cave. And now we finally figured out that this is the one direction where you actually were correct. The one time. The singular time, okay? Well, anyway, I think the next thing that we could probably check out is the maze. Oh, about the boat. Okay, we can also check out the boat again. The singular time. Well, the skeleton's also quite the lost souls, because they're also lost souls. I mean, like, yeah, mods are lost souls that are also mods, and the other ones are just lost souls. I mean, you can be two things at the same time, right? So yeah, this is basically just what happened. Was there any point to the big guardian? Yes, it's a big guardian. I mean, it's a challenge. It's the master of secrets. It's the boss in that area. Like, if we're checking... By the way, this all, I should probably check that, show that. I built this room basically... And you also missed the sky. I really love the sky in this one. Effect, clear. I love how this looks. I don't know if it is visible on Twitch. I don't think so. But basically you have like all these small little end rods. It's absolutely not visible, right? Barely if I get this close, right? I hope so. But basically it just, like, if you actually have a bright enough monitor, I really like the skylight you get from this. I'm definitely gonna build a base next season with the skylight. If I ever get the chance to play next year. Yeah, there was no reason to kill the guy, that's right. The boss was just there to make it more difficult. As bosses do. But yeah, basically, this is very important. This is the box that the challenge is in. And originally, like, basically, until the day we started the server, there was like a little wooden box on top of here where you landed in. And then I was like, okay, like, I already did the whole rope thing in the cave. I should probably build like something with the boat so it actually makes sense that you arrive here with a boat. But yes. Again, the Guardian didn't actually do anything, like the big one. And yeah, every time you go in here, everything resets as always. Night vision. Yep, I think I wrote the poem if I recall correctly. But let me check. It's been so long, again. I don't remember the poem even. I just remember that it's down here somewhere. So what's it say? Oh, wait. Night vision should probably give me infinite night vision, and yeah, it's better. In a cruel twist of fate, the creator has become his lost soul himself. Bind him to a gem you've for the help. Yeah. This one wasn't really... This one wasn't the poem. You're talking about the other one. But this one, I think I wrote. Again, hint that Rebz actually built the whole stuff. Or like a lot of stuff. Where am I? There should be a cave somewhere. Like here. Okay. Have to find it. Oh, look, a grave. Tama. Currently, because I didn't trigger the whole system, obviously I can just go in here. This was the book. Yeah, this one I actually wrote, because it was related to the Guardian room, which I obviously wrote, so yeah. You know, my literary genius I had to show off, you know. As you do. Actually, I actually like this poem. It kind of worked out. I don't think it's the favorite thing I ever wrote, but, you know, sometimes that's enough. Okay. Taking the boat back. And back to creative mode. This was the underwater maze. Returning to the whole matter at hand. The line about shouting, whispering was so confusing. Okay, first of all, it's a reference to a German poem. Second of all, it's basically to tell you that you have to capitalize everything, because otherwise it doesn't work. And not only do you have to capitalize everything, but you have to, you know, do it quietly, like not in chat, but instead on the golden nuggets. But yeah, I should probably sit differently. I'm kind of slouching too much. Kind of happens if I put my legs down, I guess. What's the next thing? Should probably check out the maze. I quite enjoyed the maze. Obviously a lot cooler if you don't have clear... I quite enjoyed that. I originally thought about making it a pressure plate, but pressing a button was also fine. I actually built the entrance here. This is like most of the stuff I built. The rest was all reps. Again, this is the first time. This is one of the last builds we actually did. So obviously we kind of learned, and we knew that we should probably put up some signs that you should probably rest here, so you don't have to do the whole thing again. And then, as always, I loved screaming. It's great. Entering the maze. And, you know, I mean, you realize it yourself that we later on added blindness and night vision so you can actually see the floor. Like, I can see the floor on my screen even without night vision. Effect, clear, you know. Gonna remove blindness. Like, I can see those diamond blocks, for example, even without F3. No problem. But again, it's like kind of a problem if you don't have a proper screen for that. To be fair, I could have probably written a plugin that could have read the chat and then did something because of that. The problem is you can't actually read whispers, which is also why the plugin doesn't work in whispers. Like, they are private, for obvious reasons. Would be kind of annoying if people could just read your private chat messages. But yes, this maze was really fun. I decided to later on put black concrete on top. Just because it kind of fits with the theme, and I really love the effect that you have with black concrete, even if you can see stuff like in the darkness. Like before you get the blindness effect, right? Effect clear, removing that one. Like, I think on screen, I don't know if you can see the diamond blocks. I can see them quite clearly, I have to say. But like, if I look up, it definitely looks as if the ceiling is a lot higher than it actually is. Wait. Whispers do show on console? That is kind of weird, because I've always thought that they are supposed to not show up in console. But I guess I'm wrong. Could also be. Which is kind of weird that then the plugin doesn't change the emotes in there. But yes. Like, I'm gonna check, like, there should be a few other blocks here. But, like, emerald... And obviously screaming is kind of... I don't know if it's too loud. I'm gonna still turn master volume down, like, just a bit. And by a bit, I mean, like, down to 1%. I hope that's still slightly audible. But, like, I can clearly see all those blocks. I have no trouble doing that. And this is about as bright, probably less bright in most areas than, like, the nether. Like, if you are building in the nether a lot, you kind of realize. Obviously, Grumpy Maze Dweller. They're all called that. Yes, most areas are actually quite cheesable with 2 or more people, which is actually why we intended this to be a single-player experience for the most part, except for the last part. But then again, like, you know, you are free to do whatever. It's not like you missed a lot of gameplay here. Like, I know that you basically cheesed, like, the warden in the end. Because that one is actually kind of hard to avoid. Because it basically spawns in front of the final door. Should probably give myself not night vision, infinite, 0, true. Yeah, no, I don't have the darkness effect. I can also, like, it doesn't really change too much actually. Clear, night vision. I'm gonna give myself blindness. Like, the blocks that are close to you still are, like, definitely more than visible enough. Like, I can clearly see what blocks are in front of me. Look, this is yellow wool, very simple for me to see. I don't know if you can see it on stream, if there's, like, a difference there. But, like, I don't have any trouble to see blocks that are, like, I can still see those blocks. I can see about 2 or 3 blocks in front of me. This is about how far I can see, like even like this. Obviously blindness now just ran out. I mean, one blindness also pulsates, but that only makes it easier because you can see further sometimes. Like I tested this, like we tested this a bit. It's not like either way. Yeah, again, we adapted. We gave you this. Just we had to test it basically first if it's like too easy then. But the challenge shouldn't be to see the floor. The challenge was avoiding the wardens, which was why it was fine. Yeah, but again, like I can clearly see everything, even with the warden blindness. Like we tried it a little bit before we implemented it. Obviously, like most things that we implement, we actually test. It's kind of crazy, I know. So yeah, that's kind of where we end with that. And again, I kind of really like the ending room. I also built that one because like in complete darkness when you don't see anything, especially. Yeah, I mean, I am built differently, obviously. But if I give myself, this is, you said, darkness? Infinite 0, I'm going to give myself darkness. Like, as you can see way further sometimes. And even though it is really dark, there are like the phases where you can clearly see, and even like in the very darkest parts, I can still see the floor I'm standing on. I have no trouble seeing that. But again, this is a display setting. I see on stream or like on my second monitor that I can see nothing. Like I can't even see my arm, even when it gets bright. So again, it's like a monitor thing. But again, I kind of enjoyed this effect that you got when you went here. That you could see the book and, or like the lectern when you got close. And it's supposed to be kind of spooky, but you're safe in here because obviously the wardens can't enter. And I think about here you're like completely safe, more or less. Yeah, different monitor thing. And obviously into Deku's grave. And then the wake up stuff. I actually really like the fact that you're landing here. It's like one of those small things that often goes unnoticed. Especially by people who really have the observance skills, you know, that you sometimes see. Anyway, what's the next thing? Other way. Yeah, I think the maze was actually quite great. Again, I really loved how it played together with the button 2 room, just because if you know the room or like all the blocks in there, it made the maze easier, and you had to do the maze for the solution through the room. And if you didn't make the connection, you'd have to do the maze twice, which was also really important. I really like it if it's like not the main reward. The main reward for the maze obviously is Deku's grave. So yeah. Also, Deku added the whole ball chest in there, or the ball barrel, I guess. He wasn't actually supposed to do that because, again, like you weren't supposed to get stuff you couldn't just normally get. Like we actually decided to not put a lot of stuff into the chest. Like most of the chests that you found probably only contained the lore and maybe like a piece of bread or something like that. Yeah, I mean the Miro board was actually quite nice. Like I compared it to the stuff that I had, and again it was like actually had like quite some overlap. Yeah, like all the documents you made were actually quite nice. It's okay. Are we still missing something? That's like the big question right now. Yeah, and also it helped you out in the very end. And again, it's like this was supposed to be a scavenger hunt, and you had to pay attention. And again, as you have to do in puzzles, they want to see the books they missed. Which books did you miss? I mean, I can just get them out of here. Like Legend Part 1. I don't know, do you want to take screenshots to read it yourself? I'm not gonna... I mean, the VOD is technically online, so if you ever want to read them, you can just check the VOD here, I think. I hope they're visible, and can just open all the ones that you've missed. Or like just all of them. I'm just gonna still have it in the VOD. Like, one of the reasons why I wanted to do it in like a proper live stream is that now all the information is kind of in the VOD, and I have it recorded locally. So if I ever need to check something or I want to check something, I can just, you know, look it up again. You know, I'm still disappointed by one thing. When I first learned stuff with command blocks for basically the whole server, not just this event, we collected all the mod heads. And I made a joke on one of the mod heads, and this was Ryan's mod head. And I'm really sad that this didn't make it into the final vault. It was a great joke, okay? It was so funny. I mean, funniest thing I've ever made. And you're never going to see it. What else are you writing about? You got all the legends. I think there are 5. But again, I'm just gonna check out all the books. I'm not gonna read them right now, but you can just kind of skip the night, yeah, like this. You missed the one in the library, the campsite, mushroom house. I know that Kali went to the mushroom house and found something in there. Oh, small hidden nearby, okay. I was kind of confused by how short the text was. The swamp boat. I think those are both the same, right? Imagine writing a diary for 394 days. Crazy. Altwolf. Obviously. Mats Rosemary. Yeah, I can't even pronounce that. I'm not gonna try to. I'm gonna be lectured at the end about the origin of that name, I guess. I don't want that. Okay. You missed one in the library, one in the small campsite, mushroom house. What was the point of a mushroom house? I mean, it was kind of cool, let's be honest. And I think, didn't that one have... Yeah, it had lore. You missed something that... No. I mean, for one, we added another lore book into the library that you probably missed because it happened after you were done. Very, very much lore. Campsite. Grand Cultmunity Library, very, very important lore. The Swamp Campsite. More lore. I think this is one of the earliest ones, right? Celia's Library. Complaining about the blocky world. Treasure of the Lost Souls, yeah. Very important lore. Also, I think one of the earlier ones. And the wagon at Spawn. Oh, that's Legends Part 4, okay. There's a lot of Legends Part 4 here. Alright. We now have everything of this, okay. What else did I miss? They're the same in one of the author name change, okay. You got that one. A mushroom house was an awesome build, yeah. I mean, the mushroom house definitely was fitting, I guess. But yes, this was everything found in these small campsites. So I guess we're done with those. Is there anything left, actually? I'm gonna check my big notebook here. We have the final room in the big cave. But I think otherwise we actually checked out everything else. So I guess let's go there. Back to the cave, trademark. I should really copyright that. I mean, the cave is such a unique name. Okay, back to creative and spectator. So this is obviously the final challenge. If you manage to get both the button rooms, which you would only do very, very late in the challenge probably, because you need, for the second one, you need the maze, which is also rather late. And it's literally just an AND gate, and here's a redstone block that disappears when you finish the second part of this. There are two command blocks. They basically just empty your inventory and give you saturation, which is why you got healed. Basically just fill your hunger bar completely for a few seconds. Then I think you asked some things. What I remember, the first question was, how were you supposed to figure out that you can jump down here? And as always, the solution is, sometimes you have to look around, and it's kind of weird that there's like this glowing, the frog lights. And this was actually really important, because it was actually supposed to teach you one thing, which you missed again. Like, I'm going to complain a lot in this challenge, because there's like a lot of design in a lot of those challenges that was supposed to teach you something and you missed it. Like, for example, frog lights. There are only a few frog lights in here, and every single one of those has a meaning behind it. Like, those are points of interest. Like, for example, okay, there are 2 frog lights on this pressure plate, there are 2 here, and there are a few here, so probably something is important over here. This is the first thing. And obviously there are no frog lights here, but you already found those here, so we don't double up. And then, this one is the block you have to stand on, because above you, the other person has a chance to drop the bow and arrow down. Which is why this is marked. And I would actually like to... Wait, I can activate the redstone, I know how to do that. I can cheat! It's not that hard. Redstone block, just to show you something. This, by the way, is all the redstone. It's not that much, but it's like a few command blocks and a few timers and whatnot. I could have probably built a lot of this a bit cleaner, but sometimes I'm just too lazy. So, one of the options that you actually had in this room was to just stand on top of the pressure plates and just look where all the blocks go. Like, for example, there is a frog light again. And it's in connection to this one, because from that frog light you can perfectly drop down the bow. And then you obviously have the spot you have to wait on, so the glowing bridge appears, for example. And you have this block you are supposed to stand on to get the bow and arrow from up there. And as you can see, always frog lights mean something important. And, like, obviously, I can't expect you to know everything, it's fine. But that you then just try to like throw stuff over here all the time, even though it was like really hard to be fair, I slightly changed it to make it even harder, because you could originally, like if you were sneaking, you could just barely hit that target block over there. So I made it a bit more clear over time. But again, it's like one of those things where I mentioned it before, like there aren't solutions where you have to cheese stuff. It's always a solution that you can actually figure out, in theory. Like, I'm not, again, like, sometimes you just don't see a solution that is fair. But this is also why I was confident that it was fine that you had to repeat those puzzles every time you got here, for 2 reasons. First of all, if you figured out the pattern over here for the button 1 room, then you can actually, in theory, skip some parts, because you can jump if you are talented enough. I am not, but some people may be. Like, as you can see, like, for example, here, you can skip, like, a massive part if you make this jump, and it's, like, 3 blocks. If you get a bit of practice in, you probably can manage that. And that's, like, relatively early, like, where you got just, you know, just have to go a few turns around, and then you can basically skip most of it. Things like those. And the other side, obviously, it gives you a bit of parkour practice, I guess. I mean, no, it's fine that you couldn't keep track of it in your head. It kind of makes sense if you only see the arrows, but if you have the image of the water path, it's actually a lot easier. And this is kind of what I'm talking about, like the whole, if you see the solutions, sometimes it gets easier. But yes, the idea was that you might have to reset like 5 to 10 times to finish the final room, because most of the challenges in itself, I mean, you realized it yourself probably at some point, like once you realized that you had to drop the bow from here, it only took you a few more attempts to finish the whole thing. This is kind of what I was talking about, like, It gets a lot easier if you see what you have to do. And this was actually the only hard part, and I don't know. Maybe next year I'm gonna give a hint somewhere in a book that like frog lights mean something or something. The water maze gave you trouble. This is again one of those things with the screen, because I saw people getting turned around constantly in here. Like, I can normally see in here. I can see where I'm going. I don't get turned around. Obviously because I swam through here before, but also because I can actually see where I'm going. Because, of course, it's kind of dark, but if you have like a screen that is bright enough, you can actually go here. And this was actually a biggest struggle point, because every time it was Uzai, right, who like tried to swim, and he always swam back down this area instead of going like to the next area. I actually messaged him in between because I thought he shouldn't have to suffer for I guess your attempt here. That he actually got turned around all the time. But yes, like the water maze in itself isn't like that hard if you can slightly see where you're going. Like, the only hard part is if you get turned around. And then I kind of made this a joke that it seems like you can't continue, but yeah, those are just barrier blocks, which you can, by the way, see if you just hover. So, yeah. Yeah. Good to hear that you agree, at least. Like, I don't think anything in here itself was particularly hard. I think you kind of struggled because, like, your parkour skills were on different levels, I guess, in your team. This definitely was a challenge. Like, everyone in this room has to be decent at parkour, which was like one of the challenges, I guess. Yeah, I also felt bad, which is why I kind of told him that he got turned around. But yes, this is the room. Had to make sure that you actually get a PvP in this area, which is why I had to enable PvP at some point when we made like the last final checks, when you actually got close to getting here. So you could actually pull each other with a fishing rod. But yes. And once you get here, this is actually pistons. It was just to simplify some redstone, because those 3 points are like so far apart from each other that I had to make sure that actually redstone works properly. But yes, this is only why there were some pistons. Anyway, once you were done with all of that, I don't actually think that I have a teleporter to the vault. Yeah, no, we don't. Okay, back to the cave, I guess. It's kind of annoying because, again, I don't have my all my waypoints, so it's obviously a bit annoying to go over there. Creative mode, spectator. Just gotta copy some coordinates. And as always, it's just, you know, in this time, your inventory gets cleared if you still, for some reason, had like a fishing rod or something. And then you get teleported. TP. And you land in the vault. Obviously, pressing this, one of the pressure plates actually closes the door. Like, there's like a bunch of redstone for that. And here's obviously where you had to then drop off all the things. Okay, secret projects by Uzai. Gonna check that out later. Who died here? Somebody died here. Ah, Lily died. Okay, classic. But yes, here it was obviously important that you kind of looked at all the places, or like all the graves and all the places hinting at the graves and whatnot. So it was really good that you had all your notes. And yeah, I get it. It was kind of confusing to put like a golden pressure plate here. This was mostly just to have like a bit more color in there. I could have probably changed that up for just regular gold blocks. But yes, basically, if you had thrown something wrong in here, or like a wrong item here, it would have just killed you. That's all what happens, so. I mean, it sure was funny. But yes. Also, this is one of my favorite doors now. Such simple redstone. It basically just, if you rotate an arrow, you can read that. And then it slowly opens piston by piston. It's such a cool door in my opinion. I guess you can see now half is open, and obviously I can just stop it whenever. Definitely gonna use this door design somewhere else at some point. Like, so great. Also has like my favorite, like wonkiest redstone updater. This is where I learned that item frames don't properly update redstone unless you update the redstone components themselves. It's just so wonky. Basically, every single tick, this block gets replaced and then it gets replaced again. This is basically what happens, just to update this comparator and the same on the other side. Again, very funny in my opinion. It's so weird. Redstone is so weird. I've heard that they make some changes in the next update. That's gonna be fun to figure out, I guess. Yeah, you never play so much Basalt in your life. By the way, I know you didn't see it, but barrier, just to show it. If you hold a barrier in your hand, you can see all the barrier blocks I placed later on. I mean, true, I definitely have like half the basalt needed for this room. But yes, as you can see, everything is, you know, covered up with barrier blocks, so nobody can actually fly in there and get stuck or something like that. If you die, you're supposed to die in the lava. Let's be honest. Redstone changed to powder. Apparently, they changed how update order works. So basically, the higher the redstone power of a piece of wire is, the earlier it gets updated. Which also sadly leads to the fact that if the redstone power is the same on two wires, then the update happens in a random order. Which is kind of annoying for some builds. And I'm not sure if that actually will go through or if they actually find a better fix. But yes, this is where you all get your heads, technically. It's also where, again, I made a totally funny joke. Instead of escapee of realms, it would have said something else. I don't know. I'm gonna go back into the debug room. Maybe there's still a head that has that info here. Yep, it has. Best joke. I'm never going to beat this joke. Okay, that's great. Anyway, I think this is everything in the event. So, yeah. Are there any questions left, I guess? You can make a super compact randomizer now. Kind of. But I think a dispenser-based one is probably easier. Because, like, okay, you have like two pistons that can activate, but they still are going to activate at the same time. It's just that, for example, if you have two pistons pushing into each other, that only one of them can obviously activate, so yeah. Oh, you want to reveal one thing? What do you want to reveal? Let me know. I can maybe show it off on screen. Oh yeah, Beryl was never supposed to be in the game. Obviously. The reason why he was there was literally because I made a joke about how it was his brother, and then I was like, okay, you're struggling so much, I'm just gonna put him into the game. But he was great, okay? And he's never going to come back. Never. But yes, obviously all the other events had nothing to do with our event, so... I mean, it is still in the notes from what I've remembered, so... I mean, he is precious, yeah. Also, he was a very rare villager from what I remember. I mean, he didn't was, you know, he still is, totally. I totally removed him, or like moved him somewhere else and didn't completely remove him. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I would never. This library book, okay. Are the people who I mentioned, they are like important from a storyteller standpoint? I think that's a Rebz question. Which library book did I miss? Is it here? I know that there are like some. Oh yeah, the eye hint is new. Obviously, most important unit of measurement is a fathom. Obviously, everyone knows what that is. I'm just gonna Just like with the old books, I'm just gonna scroll through here in case you wanna take screenshots later. Did you get the one about the warden? Which one is that? Because I don't quite remember which one it was. Archaic Ruins? Is this one? Oh, this one, I think, right? Deep Slate, Civilization Long. 8 pages. So much lore. Yeah, this one... But this was just a hint, right? I don't think it actually tells you where it is. Like, I remember talking about some of the hints, but I don't remember actually reading all of them. Let's be honest, I read like only half, maybe. Never really had the time to seek out all of them. About the author. Alaric Stonehelm. Uh-huh. Lore. Wait, subaquatic sea? What? Oh, subaqueous, okay. I read subaquatic in the beginning. Yeah. That's basically it, I should probably mention. Yeah, the authors themselves, they weren't like... I don't think there's any single author that is like really important. Like, then, or like where their name is very important outside of being like just a random person in the world. So. Yeah. Obviously a lot more organic than just putting some numbers on a sign. Which obviously, like, I remember you asking that why sometimes there were just numbers on signs and sometimes you had like the whole lore thing. And the main reason for that is it was just time. Like, I would have liked to have like proper puzzles in every single situation. But obviously it just wasn't feasible. Like, it took so much. Like, again, we were still finishing stuff up by the very end. The grave, or like not the grave, the final vault, for example, wasn't built until the server started, and you were actually quite deep into the whole challenge already. I should probably spoil that. Same for the last puzzle, which is why it's, by the way, red on the graph that I'm using. It wasn't actually built when the server opened. And we actually only built it like after you already started to explore everything. And like, I have kind of the excuse that I was building Nitten and it was kind of hard to, like, I knew what I wanted to build, but I just never had the time to actually work on it because you're kind of always busy when you're building like a massive network through the nether. So I've been told, at least. Yeah, nothing is related to the event. This is very important. Like, again, all the other mods basically knew nothing about the cave and everything that was part of it. They could have probably also joined in on the event and, would have still enjoyed like 90% of it. So, and by enjoyed, they could have still explored it for the first time. Again, they only saw like their graves, and I think they knew that the graves were needed, that you actually had to find all of them. I think that was something we kind of openly revealed. Things like those, and some actually helped out with the underwater challenge. I think Luke did some of the redstone in the beginning. I don't remember. Or was it Jeff? I know Jeff and Luke sometimes looked into stuff, but again, they weren't like too involved. So. Did I forget anything? I think those are all the locations. All of the other things are checked off. Otherwise, flashbang warning. Gonna switch over to the screen again. Where is this? Did I close it? No, I didn't. Okay. Just to check. Like, what did we all check in the puzzle here? Yeah, exactly. Like, most mods didn't really know what happened. But yeah. We have the big cave entrance. Okay. Multiple trips needed. This was really important for me. Twin Gate, we were the Bone Zone, very important. The button 2 room, button 1 room, we checked out the End City room. It originally was actually supposed to be in the end. Like, you were originally supposed to get a clue and then go into the end, but that just wasn't really feasible to do. Like, technically we could have cheated ourselves in there, but I don't think it would have really improved the whole situation. It would have just needlessly extended this challenge because you would have had to wait until you could enter the end on your own. And the treasure room, obviously, we checked out. We were at the old garden, just looking at it for a brief moment. Broken Tower, obviously. We looked at... Well, we looked at the emeralds. We didn't actually look at the graves. For the most part. We were at the eye. Glowing... Oh yeah, this is the one with the arrows. The forge we checked out. I think we actually checked out everything. Okay. So this was actually all of the event. So let's return to the game. Okay, that works. Yeah, I mean, we could look at the graves again or something, or answer some more questions, but otherwise we're actually kind of done. I have to say, the one thing that actually bothered me was I actually wanted to get all the heads in here that I originally had in last year's server. But I, for the life of me, couldn't get a magma cube head, which sounds so crazy. Like, I have so many now, but for some reason, the first few weeks in creative mode, I never managed. Like, I killed hundreds of magma cubes in here and tried to get a head, and I just couldn't, for some reason. So weird. But yes. Originally, by the way, behind the black concrete would have been my storage rooms. So... what's the plan for this for next year? I mean, next year I am writing my bachelor's thesis, so I don't know how much time I'm gonna have. So, don't know. Probably not reuse though. That sounds kind of boring. Let's be honest. That's at least my opinion on this. Like Rebz room. Just gonna look through all the rooms while we're waiting, I guess. Also very dangerous. I remember some graves in there. Some chests. Question for next year, how do I apply for a question for Minecraft mod? I mean, you probably have to ask Ryan, but please don't do it now. He's probably going to ask at some point. Yeah, like if I'm a mod next year, I'm probably not gonna do knitting. I mean, I can just do one of those. And I think mod work is kind of a bit more fun in that sense. Or at least I might do like a knitting similar to the first year or like last year. I mean, like a mitten. I wanted to call it like a mini knitting. Yeah. So what else? Checked out Evos earlier. Voids, Luke's, this one we also checked. Deku's obviously the whole end thing because he's very end themed, I guess. Also added some, you know, added some signs. And he had his altar over here, and obviously the whole ball barrel that's now empty. No one will ever get any more balls. Deku had balls, I guess. That was very important. And we did not see this one yet. And this one I actually really liked. Was really nice by them to jump on here. All the same paintings, I guess. But it was just a very nice grave, I guess. Actual grave, you could call it. There's a darkness grate. A grate into darkness on both sides. Very nice. But yes, I think now we've actually seen everything. And you're very disappointed by the classic hidden room behind painting. Maybe I actually saved that all up for, you know, the whole hide and seek action. It's probably getting more use there, so. But next year, maybe waterfall, okay? Maybe something hidden behind a waterfall. But just maybe. Don't quote me on this. But yes, I think otherwise we are kind of done. And we're also talking about, or have been talking about this for like 2 hours, so we were right to start like an hour early, even with like technical difficulties. I mean, fair enough. Yeah, I still think like if any of the other people who are still interested actually do all the puzzles now, they are actually going to have a lot easier time because they have elytras. Just the elytras changed so much. You can't actually disable the elytra light from what I've seen, and even if you could, you can just fly over an area and just, you know, land. You can kind of cheese it quite easily. Yep. Completely agree. If you have any more questions, obviously you can just ask in the group chat. I think we have answered most of the things. But now I also have like a VOD of this, so I don't know. Any other embarrassing screenshot? Well, since my disk died, actually most of my screenshots are gone, which is kinda annoying. So I guess not. I had like so many screenshots of you traveling around. I should have definitely backed them up a bit earlier, but I don't know. It just happens at some point, and you're backing up all the stuff you think is important, and you kind of forget about all the screenshots, I guess. Kind of sad. So I only have like some of them. And by some I mean like basically none. Because I like switched my PC like multiple times during the server, so I have like some backups from earlier, but I don't have them from the last time. Like basically ever since I switched to Linux, I don't have anything of that. Which is kind of sad, but yeah. No, thank you, Reps, for coming up with the idea. Like originally, I had like a similar idea to do that, like as a like an open event, but you know it would have taken so much time, and like sometimes you just kind of just need somebody else to kind of bounce ideas off of, and then it's just so much more fun. Also, like building with you like for hours a day was also very fun. So yeah, otherwise I would say this is probably the end of the stream. Unless you have like another question that comes out like very quickly. Yep. I mean, it was a very fun event to make. Yeah, like was kind of the most fun I think I had like in quite some time. Like I really enjoyed building on every single project I in here. Like I know I had like my own projects going on that were all like mega bases or the Nitten, and they definitely keep you occupied, but there's definitely quite a difference to like just basically designing a game. This is basically what this is, and it's always something very enjoyable. Something like that kind of triggers the dungeon master in me, I guess, to create more worlds and stuff. So it was very fun. Anyway, I'm gonna end the stream here, I think. I think there are no questions left. So I guess see ya next time. We are either doing the whole other event, like the PvE event, or we are going to do hide and seek again, because now I have some more time. So, hey, still have an exam in front of me, but I should probably find some time in between. Anyway, bye.